Yo, what is going on, guys? Welcome back to another YouTube video. Today we're breaking down the full card of Royval versus Taira. First up on this card here, we've got Chris Barnett versus Junior Tafa. Both guys are strikers. Chris Barnett hasn't fought for about a couple of years as well here. Last win over here, Jake Collier. Chris Barnett's more of a guy that likes to just brawl. He doesn't really use takedowns, doesn't really use grappling much. He does use it for defensive, to get out of his defensive situations, but more of a guy just blitzes in, throws a lot of hooks, stands on the outside, throws a lot of low kicks as well. But yeah, always puts up entertaining fights. And going against someone like Junior Tafa, he used to have a lot of fights in Risen as well, in Glory. So he doesn't really use much leg kicks. In his last couple of fights here, he's been taken down and submitted, even against Valter Walker here. Got picked apart there against Marcus Rodrigo de Lima by leg kicks. So he's not good defensively. He's also got bad takedown defense, and but he's striking. He's got the hand speed, and he does have some decent footwork. But again, being an all-around mixed martial artist is not that great. So yeah, I feel like he could be an accurate striker here, and he's very good with his counters, with his left hook as well. So uses a jab well, and uppercuts, and the right hand. He definitely has a powerful right hand. So it's going to be a sluggish heavyweight fight, but yeah, I'm going to go with Junior Tafa. I know there won't be, unless Chris Barnett just pulls out takedowns or whatnot, but I doubt he will. So, and activity-wise, I feel like even though Tafa's been losing, I feel like this one's going to be on the feet, and I feel like Tafa's going to look for the counter and try to get Chris Barnett out of there. So I got Junior Tafa by knockout, but it's going to be hard to get Chris Barnett out there. His recovery is pretty good as well, so you know, we'll see how that one goes. So yeah, Junior Tafa's a pick here. There's no really picks here by the community here for some reason. There is on the main page. A lot of people are going with Chris Barnett a knockout. Anyways, next up on the card here, we've got Cory McKenna versus Julia Polastri. Cory McKenna, he is coming off a loss. She's known for her grappling and her takedowns. She has some decent striking. She did lose the last fight here against Jacqueline Oromem by submission. So she's not bad with her striking. Like, she'll just stay at range, use a jab and a lot of 1-2s, but she's got the hand speed there. She's also young. There's a lot of leg kicks, but times her takedowns, and really heavy with the wrestling and grappling. But yeah, again, like, she got submitted in the last fight there and won against Cheyenne Vilsmus, and Miranda Granger lost against Reed by split. But yeah, so we've seen some holes in the games with the jiu-jitsu. She might need to work on that a little bit, but going against someone like Julia Polastri, she's also well-rounded herself. She's coming off Contender Series. She did lose to Knutson, but she did have a lot of success with taking down Knutson in that fight. So she's another one that be staying on the outside, and she defensively, her striking is not that great. She does eat a lot of shots, so with the nickname Psycho right there. So kind of likes to walk down opponents as well, some of her fights. So very aggressive striker, throwing combinations, defensively eats a lot too, but very good in getting the takedowns herself and using submission. So she's definitely a submission threat here against McKenna. Obviously, we've seen her getting submitted. Before that, we haven't really seen her against like girls that are very good with the jiu-jitsu as well. So definitely a threat. So yeah, I'm gonna go. The community here is going 21 by McKenna, but I'm gonna go. The 79 is going against with Polastri, so I'm gonna go with the 79% here against McKenna with Polastri here. I think even though she lost the last fight, she had a lot of success with her takedowns as well and whatnot. So I think she's gonna do well to even get a. I think she'll get a submission against McKenna here. So Polastri is a pick by me. Next up, we've got Dan Argueta versus Cody Haddon. Dan Argueta's had a bit of a weird career. He's had a couple of no contests in this fight. He's a guy that he's not the best striker. Like, he'll kind of rush a blitz and use a jab and throwing wild right hand overhands, and look for the takedown. So he always tries to blitz and rush in for the takedown against the cage and try to be very heavy with his grappling. but it does seem to lose position at times. And his last win was like almost 2 years ago against Nick Argo, with the unanimous decision. He did lose against Damon Jackson. Even Ronnie Lawrence, that was a weird stoppage by the referee. He had him in a submission. Like, I think it was like a guillotine, yeah, and then the referee just stopped it, even though Ronnie Lawrence didn't tap. Lost against Miles Johns, but Miles Johns got done with failed drug tests, and then lost against Gene Matsumoto. So it's not a really good look for Dan Argueta. But yeah, going against someone like Cody Haddon, I feel like Cody Haddon is going to be the better striker in this matchup, and he's coming off the Contender Series last month, that win. He's got very good boxing, so he uses jab very well, throw a lot of leg kicks, a lot of nice combinations to the body. Like his last one in the Contender Series, he threw a body shot and then the left hook on top, so he's very nice, clean with his boxing there. He does get hit some at times himself, and he's good with his grappling as well, getting takedowns and setting up submissions. So he's got a lot of fights here on the Oceania region, and he was on one of the Jack Della cards too, early on. And yeah, so he's definitely a threat. I think his striking is just going to be too much for Dan Argueta, and I think he's going to counter him the way Dan Argueta rushes in. And yeah, so his only loss Cody Haddon was against Steve Erceg too, so he's definitely up there. So community here was going with 87% with Haddon and 62 by submission and 30% for Argueta, and I'm gonna go with Haddon here. I think his boxing is going to be too much for Dan Argueta, and I think Cody Haddon is going to do well with the scrambles and getting out the bad positions when Dan Argueta gets him on the ground. So Haddon's the pick. Next up, we've got Jonathan Pearce versus Pat Sabatini. Both, just let it load here. It's big shit, the internet. Also, I do apologize for the coughing and whatnot in the background. So anyways, next up, we got here Jonathan Pearce, Pat Sabatini. Both guys aren't the best strikers. Jonathan Pearce, he's coming off 2 fight losses. Even against the David Onama loss there, like, he had succession of like getting the grappling and takedowns, but the problem is he when he's with his striking, like, he throws some leg kicks, but he's not very accurate with his striking. He throws like his shots from really far out. So he throws some up kicks and whatnot, but yeah, just I've noticed when he with his boxing, he's not very good. Yeah, just throws some wild shots from very far out and gets countered a lot too. And but yeah, just when he gets the takedowns, he's very good with his grappling. He doesn't really set up as much submissions as what I've noticed as well, but he likes to control and, you know, use a lot of ground and pound and whatnot. So that he was very good with succeeding on that, even against Darrell Elkins, and he had a submission over Americani. But yeah, I had a win over Christian Rodriguez. But other than that, lost to Brito. He did have succession of out grappling Brito in that fight, but yeah, Brito came back and set up a ninja choke. And yeah, lost to David Onama because he kept getting countered on the feet there. So Pat Sabatini's not so good himself. Like, he'll throw combinations with his head down and rush in to get the takedown. But when he does get the takedown himself, he always sets up submissions and a lot of ground and pound. For himself, he's lost to Lopez, knocked KO, and he's had a win against Almeida with submission. Lost to Jackson there, got countered. And TJ Laramie. So both guys aren't the best strikers, very good grapplers and wrestlers, but yeah, like, it's just their striking's not very good, and a lot of people are going to go Pearce, 72 Pearce and 28% Sabatini. Sabatini more of a guy would probably set up submissions more than what Pearce does. So I'm going to go with Jonathan Pearce, but I wouldn't be surprised if Sabatini could get the win. So both guys can. It's for me, it's more of a 50-50 fight, but I'm gonna go Pearce here. I feel like Sabatini could get countered and knocked out, because I think Pearce will be alright. Like, he's got some decent recovery. Like, he probably won't get knocked out if he gets tagged by Sabatini. But yeah, Sabatini's showing that he's been knocked out of there his last couple of fights. So Jonathan Pearce is a pick here. Next up, we've got CJ Vergara versus Ramanbek Ramazonbek Temirov. With this matchup here, CJ Vergara, he's coming off a loss here against Azumabale. You see CJ's record, he's lost to the guys in the top 15 like Tatsuro Taira, Almabayev. So he's lost to guys that are very good with the grappling and wrestling. So he's more of a point fighter. He'll stay on the outside, throw a lot of leg kicks, jabs to bodies, uses a jab. He doesn't really, yeah, he's not the most entertaining fighter, but when he does get taken down, he's got some decent defense of not getting submitted, even though he did get submitted by Tatsuro Taira, but he does well to get up some bad spots. But yeah, more of a point fighter on the striking. Doesn't really use his wrestling as much, so he has had some wins against Salvador and Lakata knockout with a ground and pound, but yeah, not the most exciting fighter. Like I said, he even got taken down by Daniel Silva in the fight too. But going against someone like Ramazonbek Temirov, he's coming out of Risen, and he's more of a striker himself. Throws a lot of spinning back kicks. I wouldn't say, yeah, he's a pretty aggressive striker. Uses combinations, rushing in. Also gets countered a fair bit too. So he uses jab a lot. Throws some leg kicks. Throws some spinning back kicks. Like I said, but yeah, he's got a powerful right hand. So I don't know about this one. I feel like CJ Vergara could get the upset here by being the technical striker and taking his time and point fighting, and could use some counters against Temirov. But yeah, that right hand, he's also got dropped a couple of times himself, CJ Vergara. So it's a bit of a low confidence pick. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Temirov here as well by knockout, and yeah, people going 6% with Vergara, but I could see Vergara using his UFC experience and causing an upset here. So two strikers going against each other, but again, Ramazonbek's got the power in his hands. He did get dropped a couple of times, even in the last couple of Risen fights himself tomorrow. So yeah, this is a great matchup. This is for this card here. So yeah, tomorrow is a pick here. Next up, we've got Clayton Carpenter versus Lucas Rocha. Both guys are still new to the UFC. Clayton here is coming off of a win streak here. He had a last win was there against Ronderos. I'm not going to pronounce that first name. His striking's okay. Like, he does get tagged a fair bit from what I noticed as well. Feints a lot, throws a bit of leg kicks, and uses feints with his hand, like his left hook. So he doesn't really throw much jabs as well, from what I've noticed, and throws a lot of open body kicks and gets countered a fair bit too. Defensively, he's not that great on the striking, so he'll feint, throw a left hook and a right hook, and then he'll kind of rush in and get his takedowns, from what I've noticed as well. So he's got some decent grapplings and takedowns himself, and he's very good with his jiu-jitsu. Yeah, so, but I don't really rate his striking at all, to be honest. Going against like someone like Lucas Rocha here, Lucas Rocha, I feel like it's going to be the better striker. He's more of a pressure striker himself. Like, he comes forward, throws a lot of leg kicks, and throws a lot of combinations, and ends up with a lot of body kicks as well. Defensively, he gets a hit fair bit, but I don't think Clayton will be too much of a threat against Lucas Rocha here with the striking. He does get taken down a fair bit, Lucas Rocha, from what I've seen. And but he does well to get out of the scrambles, and he's got some good submissions on his record, just as much as Carpenter here. But I feel like Carpenter will struggle to get the submission win over Rocha, and maybe just looking for more of the control time here against Rocha and using more ground and pound. But yeah, striking wise, I think Rocha's going to get a knockout win over here, Carpenter. Carpenter's got a lot of holes in his defense with the striking here. So yeah, so I'm going to go with Lucas Rocha here, 61%, 39 with Carpenter. So yeah, both guys are still new to the UFC, but I see a lot of holes there with Carpenter's striking there. But yeah, more of a grappler than anything. But Rocha's more of a striker. So grapple against Rocha here matchup. But yeah, Rocha's definitely picked by me. Next up, we've got Chidi Njokuani versus Jared Gooden. There's a lot of fights in this fucking card. It's insane. Chidi here is coming off a win. Well-known kickboxer. Coming off a split win against Reese McGee, and he had a lot of losses on his record. Got knocked out by Mikel. Derive split. Gregory Rodriguez knockout. So since that Gregory Rodriguez loss, Chidi's kind of been a little bit on I wouldn't say downfall, but he hasn't really looked that great since then. So yeah, he's more of a kickboxer, like stays on range, throwing a lot of leg kicks, feints, uses a jab and the straight shots a lot. He's got he's good on his clinching, using elbows and knees. His takedown defense was not too bad, but again, Reese McGee is not all that great, well-rounded. He's okay on the regional scene in the UK, but when it comes to the UFC, he has struggled. Going against someone like Jared Gooden is coming up a win himself, but against Turman, he didn't look that great against Turman either. Like, he's more of a striker. He'll be pressure striking, throwing jabs at the body, and just jabs to the head, some nice combinations here and there, but defensively he gets tagged a lot. He's like he looks pretty damn slow when he's using his striking, Jared Gooden. Like, his hand speed's definitely not there, and I could see him getting countered by Njokuani. Yeah, and like he got caught up in a brawl there against Turman, and he was just dropped Turman, then ended up getting submission. So yeah, it's a bit of a weird fight. I think Njokuani, if he stays in range and picks him apart with leg kicks and uses a jab, I think he could pick Jared Gooden apart and maybe even knock him out and use a clinch and get an elbow in there. So I got Njokuani by knockout, 71% going with Njokuani and 29% with Gooden. Both guys are not really looking that great in the UFC right now. So yeah, that was my pick. Next up, we got Niko Price versus Themba Gorimbo. Again, Niko Price, another guy that doesn't look great in the UFC right now. He's coming up a win against Alex Morono. Even though he had a win over Morono, he looked very slow. He's 35 years old too now. He looked very slow and sluggish. He's not the best striker. He gets hit a lot. He uses a jab, low kicks. Yeah, he looks slow as fuck. If you guys watch that fight, he did not look good on his striking. He's got some decent grappling. I'll give him that one. Get some bad spots on the ground. So, but yeah, he's more known as a striker. He's definitely slowed down over the last couple of years. He even got knocked out by Lawler when it was Lawler's last fight. Got knocked out by Rowe. But yeah, had a win against Alex Oliveira. That's probably the best he's looked for a while. But yeah, that last fight showed that he's definitely on the highest end of his career. Very slow with his striking. He's 35 years old. He's definitely starting to get it way past his prime a bit. So, but yeah, he's not that great anymore. Like, yeah, he's slow, sluggish with striking, and I think Themba's gonna knock him out, to be honest. So Themba Gorimbo here. He's known for more grappling and then being striking, but he does have a killer right hand, so you know he's very tall for the division. He'll throw some leg kicks and use his jab. He knocked out Pete Rodriguez with his overhand right. It was scary knockout, that one there, and he's more of a guy that will like close the distance, use striking, close the distance, and use grappling. More so throws a lot of knees and elbows against a cage there against opponents and get the takedown. So, and can more so throw a lot of ground and pound there on the with his grappling and his wrestling. So he's got some decent striking, but yeah, his right hand's deadly. So I could see him knocking out Niko Price here. So yeah, Gorimbo's a pick here. 86 are going with Gorimbo, and 64 by knockout, and Price 14%. I'm definitely going to go with knockout with Gorimbo, just the way how slow Niko Price has looked in the last fight. So yeah, definitely going to be a highlight reel with that one. So Gorimbo's a pick there. Next up, we are on the main card, Daniel Rodriguez versus Alex Morono. Both guys don't look great here in the UFC again. Daniel Rodriguez coming off 3-fight lose streak. With that Calvin Gastelum, he could have won that one, but he did get tagged up a bit in the first round. knocked out by Ian Gary, submitted by Neil Magny, had a win 2 years ago. Even that could have been went to Jing Liang Li. Yeah, he's getting old to himself, almost 38. Daniel Rodriguez, he's more known for a striker than anything. So he throws a lot, stays out on range, uses a jab, uses a lot of nice combinations of the body, leg kicks. His takedown defense has held up before these losses, but yeah, Magny kind of exposed that a bit too. So he took him down and submitted him. But after that, he's just had like more striking matchups, and more striking matchups, hasn't really had his takedown defense really tested there. So going against someone like Morono's, I don't think it'll be hard to hit. Morono is more of a guy like he's not a very stationary target. He'll move around a lot, bob his head all over the place, and use a jab a lot, and use a lot of straight shots there. So he's not the best striker himself. Lost against Niko Price. He uses grappling there. He's also got some good jiu-jitsu, but he hasn't been really using much grappling much in his last couple of fights. Like one against Court McGee, lost against Buckley. Yeah, both these guys are pretty fucking shit at the moment. Like, but I feel like even though Rodriguez is coming off losses, I feel like he's still got the hand speed there, and he's definitely got the accuracy with the striking. So, I think with Alex Morono, he doesn't really do well checking leg kicks as well from Morono's. As much as he throws a lot of offense out there, in the later rounds he does slow down a bit and gets tagged up a bit himself. Yeah, I'm gonna go with Daniel Rodriguez on this fight. I think Morono will get, as much as he starts off good with his jab and throwing a lot of straight shots and leg kicks, but defensively he's not that great. I think Daniel Rodriguez's defense will definitely be a bit more better in this fight. I could be wrong, but this fight can go any way, either way. So, yeah, Rodriguez is picky at 81%, and Morono, people are going to go 90%. Unless Morono does get the fight to the ground and uses grappling, he could get the win. But he doesn't really use it much unless he really has to, if he knows he's down in the fight. Yeah, but I'm going to go Daniel Rodriguez here. Next up on the main card, we've got here Josh Fremd versus Abdul Razak Alhassan. Josh Fremd here is coming off 2 losses. He was laid in prayed by Andrei Petroski and lost against Kopylov with a liver kick there. He was getting fucking battered in that fight, and his last win was almost a year ago against Jamie Pickett. I don't think Jamie Pickett's even in the UFC anymore. Had a win over against Cedric Dumas, but I feel like Dumas has gotten a lot better since that loss there against Josh Fremd a couple years ago. Josh Fremd is known for, like, he's not the best striker, man. Just uses jab, straight shots, leg kicks, defensively gets tagged up a fair bit. He's got some decent grappling and some good submissions, but that hasn't really held up too well in the last couple of fights. And, you know, going against, as much as he gets tagged up a fair bit, and going against someone like Abdul Razak Alhassan, he's got some holes in his takedown from what I've noticed. Like, even Joe Pfeiffer was taken down a fair bit there, and Buckley fight. Like, he's more of a guy, he doesn't really throw much leg kicks. He'll just eat them and then just push forward, use a jab, and look for that killer right hand. So he was always looking out for that knockout. When he does overextend with his striking, he does use clinching a bit to wear down his opponents. But yeah, like I said, when he overcommits with his striking, gets taken down. Even the Joe Pfeiffer fight, he did get us some bad spots with his getting submitted by the early rounds. But then, yeah, Joe Pfeiffer found the submission in the second round. So there's some holes in his takedown defense. Abdul, and he's getting old, almost 40 years old. So one of those fights where, you know, if Josh Fremd uses his takedowns and finds those openings, he'll get it and maybe even get a late submission against Alhassan. Or it's going to be Abdul takedown it's going to be Abdul keeping this on the feet and then getting a knockout with his right hand, because Josh Fremd has a lot of holes in his striking defense as well himself. So yeah, I'm gonna go Abdul. I'm gonna go Razak Alhassan by knockout. 88% going with Alhassan as well by knockout, and 30% Josh Fremd. Both guys don't really look that good in the UFC themselves at the moment. Like I said, Josh Fremd, if he does win, it'd be his grappling. And looking for Alhassan to overextend on his striking and take him down and control him, but it's gonna have to be perfect for 3 rounds and get knocked out. But it's possible. It is possible with Josh Fremd. So yeah, like I said, it's a 50-50 fight. A lot of people are counting at Josh Fremd, but I think he could get this done as well. So, but I'm gonna go with Hassan with a knockout. Just he's got a lot of power in the right hand. So yeah. Next up on the main card, we got here Grant Dawson versus Rafa García. Grant Dawson was on a massive win streak until he came across Bobby Green. So early knockout in that fight. He was doing well until he did get knocked out in that fight. Grant Dawson, it's not, I wouldn't say he's the best striker. He would like stay in range, switch stance a lot. His jab and some leg kicks, and kind of more rushing to use his takedowns and grappling. He's very heavy with his grappling and wrestling. Very good with using his ground and pound and even submitting his opponents. But yeah, once the fight comes to the ground, he dominates. So he's definitely a threat with his grappling and wrestling, and submission and his jiu-jitsu. But striking wise, he's not the best. Garcia is definitely, I feel like, the better striker, but defensively he gets tagged a fair bit too. Even his last couple of fights, like he didn't fight a year ago. Like he went against Cory, he was getting tagged a fair bit there. He uses a jab pretty well. Those are some lot of leg kicks and a lot of straight shots. So he does stay in range and does well. Is very accurate and he does use some decent combinations. But even though with his loss there against Drakkar Klose, like Drakkar Klose is not really known for the best wrestler, and even he found a lot of holes in Rafa Garcia's takedown defense. He was constantly taken down by Drakkar Klose and controlled. Garcia, he doesn't really use his takedown much. He does have it in his back pocket, but I don't think he'll get the takedowns on Dawson here. So it's a bit of a weird fight because like Garcia hasn't really been active, and Grant Dawson kind of has. So yeah, it's going to be a hard one to predict, but yeah, it's a 50-50 fight. Garcia is going to be definitely the better striker in this matchup. But yeah, Dawson's going to be the guy using his grappling and takedowns here. So I'm going to go with Dawson, 94% going with Dawson. It's definitely going to be a decision fight. I feel like Dawson would do well enough not to hopefully he doesn't get knocked out. So, but I think he'll do well to time his takedowns and really control Garcia and get the ground and pound there. So yeah, cross fingers, Grant Dawson gets this win and uses takedowns and times it and doesn't get knocked down in this fight or knocked out. So Dawson's a pick here, more so because Garcia hasn't really been active as well. But Garcia's definitely a good striker. But yeah, there's some holes in his takedowns wrestling there. So Dawson's a pick here. Next up, we've got Brad Tavares versus Jun Yong Park. Brad Tavares is a veteran here in the middleweight division. He's had a lot of losses on his record. Lost to Gregory Rodriguez. He had a win against Chris Weidman, very sloppy fight. Knocked out by Silva. Lost to Duplessis. And yeah, split against Amari. So it's not a great look here for Tavares. He's getting old. He was a gatekeeper at time, but now I think he's past that stage where he's not a gatekeeper and testing the opponents. He's now fighting with a very not low level guys, but yeah, he's gonna be fighting with guys that past their prime like himself at this point. So at Tavares, like he just stays on the outside, leg kicks, uses jab pretty well. Like he was known for having like a right hand knockout there when he was in his prime. So his takedown defense held up. Like I do give him that one. But yeah, going against someone like Jun Yong Park, he was actually taken down by Rodriguez in that fight too, the first round. But yeah, he's slowing down a bit. He doesn't have the hand speed anymore. Does get hit a fair bit too, Tavares now. So going against someone like Jun Yong Park, Jun Yong Park is going to be better defensive strike as well. Uses jab well, low kicks, and straight shots, and he's decent grappler himself too. He does get taken down in his last couple of fights, but he does do well to scramble in those bad positions. He's also got some nice jiu-jitsu himself. He's got some good submissions on the record. He had a rear naked choke over Dorayov, Dennis Tulum. But yeah, most of these guys don't. The good, like Joseph Holmes, like these guys done very good there with his jiu-jitsu. They's choked out. But had a split loss against Muniz, and Muniz, he's not the best striker himself, and he was constantly taken down. That fight could have went either way, but Jun Yong Park he has some knockouts on his record too early on the career, and he's still young too, so he's been in the UFC for a bit. I think his hand speed is definitely going to be up there against Brad Tavares, and it will be pretty hard for Jun Yong Park to get Tavares on the ground, but he could get it done. But yeah, I think it might be a closer fight than I think so. But yeah, I think Jun Yong Park's gonna be the fresher fight in this matchup here, and better hand speed, use the jab well, tear up the legs for against Brad Tavares here. So yeah, Jun Yong Park's a pick here, 82% and 18% gonna get Tavares. But yeah, I feel like look, he does have the takedowns in the back pocket, Jun Yong Park, but it's not gonna be easy getting Tavares down. Like I said, he's got some good takedown defense. He's been known for it. Anyways, Jun Yong Park is a pick there. Next up, the main event, Brandon Royval versus Tatsuro Taira. Brandon Royval here is coming off a win against Morono. It wasn't really a split. For me, it should be unanimous. He picked Morono apart. Morono fought like he was a deer in the headlights with that matchup. In that fight, I don't know what was going on, but he was on the back foot the whole time. But again, like, Brandon Royval's pressure was really good in that fight there too. So there's pressure striking in that fight, tearing up Morono's leg, and using his jab well and his left hand. So he's got some very good hand speed, very good at staying in and out of the pocket. But the problem with Brandon Royval is we've seen the fight with Pantoja where he was constantly taken down, and then he just didn't have no answer with the takedown defense. But a lot of his earlier fights, like when he does get taken down, he'll set up some like, you know, guillotines or even triangles from his back. So he's good with his jiu-jitsu, but going against someone like Pantoja, he couldn't do anything against Pantoja when he was taken down. He couldn't set up any submissions or anything from his back. But yeah, his takedown defense is definitely a bit of a problem here. But I feel like his striking is going to be a bit better than Tatsuro Taira. Like, Taira has showed the holes in his striking, like even against Perez. Like, he's got the win against Perez, but he was getting picked apart on the feet there against Perez. Like, Tatsuro Taira, like, he definitely doesn't have the same hand speed as Royval. Like, he'll use his leg kicks and jab and straight shots, but he gets tagged a lot. Even got dropped by Charas and a couple of fights ago. Taira did. So there's definitely holes in his striking game defensively, Taira. He definitely doesn't have the hand speed. And but if this fight hits the ground, like if Taira times his takedowns, which I think he will, and use a clinch and use elbows and knees and even try to get the takedown from the clinch there, Brandon Royval's gonna be, I think, big trouble there. So it's a 5-round fight, but I think Royval can expose Taira's striking game here. But yeah, if this gets into the clinch or to the ground, Taira's definitely going to set up submissions and even submit Royval, I feel like it. But yeah, Royval is going to struggle to get Taira out there with his jiu-jitsu. So I think the better person on the ground here is definitely going to be Taira, but striking wise, I feel like Royval is going to be better. But yeah, Taira is looking good, but yeah, it's a bit of a weird one with that injury, the knee injury, but from the takedown, yeah, he did that though, Taira. He did pop that knee out there in the clinch there. Yeah, it's a bit of a weird matchup. No, I wouldn't say weird matchup. I'm just saying it's gonna be a bit of a weird pick here from me. I'm gonna go with Taira because I feel like Royval's got too many holes in his takedown and takedown defenses. So I'm gonna go Taira here, 80%. Gonna go Taira and 64 with submission there. That could be true as well. But again, like Pantoja didn't really submit Royval as well. But yeah, 20% Royval. But yeah, it's gonna be a good fight. We'll see how good Royval's takedown defense has been since Pantoja fight. So yeah, Taira's a pick here, but I think this is gonna be a great fight. So yeah. Look, I think Brandon Royval is really gonna expose the striking in Taira's game here. So yeah, it's gonna be a great fight. But yeah, anyways, guys, those are my picks today. It was very exhausting going through this card, to be honest. I think there's more so there was a lot of new matchups and a lot of new fighters coming up on this card as well. So that's why I feel a bit wrecked from studying this fight, but this card here. But yeah. Yeah, we'll be back next week with Hernandez versus Pereira card as well. So that's a great card as well as Rob Font and all that on that card. A lot of some decent vets on there. These cards are definitely going to get better towards the end of the year as well now. So definitely tune in with the Fight Night cards. But anyways, guys, those are my UFC picks. Hit the like, subscribe, and we'll be back. Cheers, guys.